to be very clear about one thing. I never wanted to be a podcaster, but I think there's a voice that needs to be emitted that's not being transmitted. So here we are. We've got over 25 recordings and I haven't promoted. I'm going to promote this one. Why? Because we're ready. And so for anybody that thinks podcasting is easy, they're wrong. And this whole social media thing that's coming, I'm not excited about that. But suffice it to say, what are we doing here? What's the purpose of this is to elevate the voice of the trades and promote the respect that all tradesmen deserve. That's what we're doing. That's why we're doing this. I think a good example of this is BuiltWit. I think he does a great job, but he's more concerned with heavy equipment and civil. And I think there's a lot of people banging nails and digging holes with shovels that don't get the credence and respect that they deserve. So if we're successful, I've got 3 outcomes that I'm set on and a few more that I'm not going to advertise today, but I'll get to. So outcome 1 is just making it easier for folks that don't want to go to school or went to school that want a well-paying career to get into the trades. Outcome 2, I think anybody that's paying attention knows that there's a looming skills gap, a big looming skills gap. All the talent of the industry is retiring. And there's a big gap in my generation of people that got into the trades and then the newer people coming in. So I think mentorship, think training, think development. But there's a wealth of knowledge that's vacating the premises that I think we're going to build a bridge for so that the young up and comers can soak it in from the old timers. And dear old timers, you guys gotta have a little bit of patience. Not all millennials are assholes, and not all Gen Zs are dummies. We just do things a little different than y'all, and you need to be okay with that. And we really could benefit from some of your wisdom. So that's outcome 2, and then outcome 3. This one's big for me, and people be like, "How is he going to do that?" But specialty trade advocacy. So I'm gonna go through the episodes to date that you need to tune into, but number 19, I believe, episode 19 with Megan Shapiro, you should tune in. But suffice it to say, the specialty contractors fund the job, have all the liability, and lose in court. And there's a way for us to fix that. And I'll just say it this way. We who have the labor have the power. So big bad GCs, big bad developers, big bad owners, litigators, insurance people, we who swing the hammer will have control when I'm done. So just so you know, if you're not on board, get on board. And you're dumb. So yeah, those are the 3 outcomes. My value delivery system. So if you want to know all about me, go tune into Better Questions. That's where all my philosophical ramblings and curiosities and all my outside of construction passions are. It's a little religious heavy right now, but it's important to me to do things different. I take great offense at ads. I think ads effing suck. And advertisement, the whole advertisement state of affairs is disgusting. I also think subscribing for, preferred content is kind of wild. So we've got, the biggest podcasters, their audience gave them all their power, hundreds of millions of dollars that they didn't expect. And you can't get play with them. You don't have a voice. So we're going to do that a little different, particularly with Better Questions. But in this scenario, my goal is to give your data, you, the construction professional, back to you. So if you see a survey from me, please promote it and please participate. The goal will be what I'm curious about. And there's 15 categories, but think boots, think trucks. Who's the official truck of the construction industry? Maybe it's Ford. I don't know. Who's the official the truck of the trades in Wyoming? What about Illinois? What about the official truck of the carpenters, of the electrician, right? We're going to do some good, hard research, some authentic research and give it back to y'all. So if you can promote those surveys, we're going to try to get those sponsored, get the show sponsored, and we'll do it with boots. We'll do it with jeans. We'll do it with merchandise. And I have a little bugaboo about me. We don't have a lifestyle construction brand yet. I might be building one, but Carhartt, you should do better. I think you should do better. But so, yeah, I think we deserve an official merch line. When you see it, it'll be called Tradesman and it's mine. Support that too. Hey, how are you? But yeah, so I'm really curious. I'm going to buy boots for all my guys at my company. When I was in the military, I wore Danners. Wolverine, I don't know, Brunt. Who's the best boot for the tradesmen? Who are the boot? What are we wearing? I'm going to go investigate that and report back out to y'all. So we're starting with the boots, the foundation of the worker. We get up at 5, we get up at 4, and we're on our freaking feet 10, 12 hours a day. Our boots should be solid, right? I don't know who's building the best boot. I know, well, I'm not going to say anything about Nike, Adidas, and all that. So like, that's what we're doing. The ones that I would go tune back into if I were y'all. Most important would be the last 3. So 18, 19, and 20. I thought those were, well, and 15. So 15, Scott Kaplan. Let me make sure I got my numbers right. Nope, 16. 16, Scott Kaplan. 18, Paul Wendy, if you want to talk about unions. So Scott Kaplan is a wealth of knowledge for anybody that's running a specialty contractor business. I cannot remember his company, but they are the elites. 18 is unions with Paul Wendy out of Chicago. John LaGiglia runs a specialty contractor, super successful dude, military vet. His story is incredible. If you don't like it, something's wrong with you. And then for all the small business owners, you guys got to listen to 20. Megan Shapiro, that's the biscuits. I think it's just amazing conversation. She'll be back. We're going to do stuff together. Other featured that I really like, 8 and 9, Dave DeStour and Lisa Piquel. We're going to run a She Builder series for sure. I think women in construction are freaking badass. And then a personal hero of mine, but I don't know what number it is. Yeah, number 5, Joel Spalding, 10 times easier than 2 times. One of my favorite humans. So those are the ones I would check out as I'm debuting, getting ready to launch. That's where I'd tell you to go. So today is an interesting day. I've never done this before, but my co-host Kyle has been, we're going to have to write him out of the will. He's been busy with his work and has canceled on me a few times. So we're going to just do a solo episode. And I don't like to just talk. I like to conversate. I don't like to lecture. Like if I were to lead a discussion or come speak, it'd be a very interactive dialogue. I happen to be a really good conversationalist, not maybe the greatest lecturer, but I want to try to deliver a little value. One of the things I'll never do is speak out of turn. Like there's things I'm really good at. There's things I'm not really good at. But one thing I've been proficient at is scaling and growing a specialty contractor business. So a little bit about our company. So we're based out of Chicago. We've done work in 20 states. We're a fence contractor, which I think fence contractors, landscapers, and pavers, like we get mistreated. I'm going to start a little campaign for the forgotten outsiders, us 3. We're just small potatoes. We get forgotten, mismanaged, and like we need to do our job better to have successful projects, particularly on the GC side of the house, the industrial side. So a little about the company. It's about 130 people. When I took over, it was about 20. So we were at around 4 million in revenue in 2019. It is 2025 and we'll do 50 this year. And most of our bookings indicate that we'll do 100 next year. And I think we're going to keep that track going until about a half a billion in the next 5 years is my goal. I think we could actually push it to $1 billion with some of the long-term strategy that we've done. So that to say, I know a thing or two about growing a company. And the lesson I would give everybody is like, I'm the best failer around. Like I have broke the business, rebuilt the business, screwed it up 6 ways to Sunday, but I've got a really good vantage point on what we do there. So I'm just going to speak to the journey as I would prescribe it and hopefully give some smaller businesses some 101 guidance to how I was successful. And I'll again say, like, how was I successful? I fail better than most. I fail hard. I fail fast. I get back up and we keep running the race. So failing forward is a big theme of mine. I don't have much figured out other than understanding how to be resilient and persevere. So that's what today will be. I'm just going to do construction specialty business 101 for the small timers. Who am I speaking to? Anybody sub 20, even sub 40 million probably has something to gain from this, particularly, maybe one of the things that's trending right now is buying boring businesses. I can't wait to go talk to Cody Sanchez someday because I think that the advertisement that it's just easy to get a loan, buy a business, run a business is misleading. I don't know how she feels about that. We'll talk. Cody, we will talk. But I think it's a motherfucker. I think the first thing somebody should ask themselves when they're getting ready to get into business is like, how much pain are you willing to endure? And are you sure you want to do this? I wish I would ask myself because quite honestly, I don't know if I would do it again. I would because we got to the other side of it. But I think It's a tough road. So I'm speaking to people that are thinking about buying a business, and particularly the installers that are under bad leaders that are thinking that the best thing for them to do is to go run a business so that they have control of their lives and are making better money. I think that's an illusion. I think it's a shame that they're working for bad leaders. I think good leadership is probably harder to find than well-rationed politicians these days. And they're one for one. That's probably a related issue. But I think it's a shame in the trades that the leadership, the ownership class typically are not great leaders. They're great doers. And then, the under ranks don't get developed. They kind of get crapped on. And then what we end up with is a bunch of great technicians that feel the need to be in business for themselves, that have to go learn everything there is to learn about business while they're learning their trade or depleting their ability to do their trade really well. So what's interesting, and if you do tune into Dave DeStore's episode, is we are one of the only industries to lose efficiency over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. We've become less efficient. I think what I'm talking about right there has something to do with it. I think the insurance and legal state of the industry is a joke. It's a joke. If you're somebody that only asks about safety, doesn't ask about quality, think long and hard about that. That's all we do. All we talk about is safety, OSHA, and all that, which is important. Don't hear me clearly. Safety is important, but it's important, but we don't care about quality of service. We don't care about years of business. We don't care about how good of work you do. We don't care about how well you take care of your employees. All we care about is what the lawyers and the insurance people think. And I think that's a shame. Not to say safety is not important. Safety is the most important. That's a big deal, but it seems to be the only thing we're worried about. And then writing contracts to screw the little guys. That needs to stop. We need to do better. But anyway, I'm talking to small business owners or people that are curious about entrepreneurialism in the trade, or I call them corporatists, the corporate people that are stuck and are tired of working in this big business and being a number and want to get into the trades. I'm just going to give you my 101. I slapped it together this morning. Might not be my best work. If you get a golden nugget, cool. If it sucks, hey, I say it in every episode. Put it in the survey. And just be prepared. The people that don't like me or don't like what I have to say, you're the first one invited to the show. If I say something that rubs you wrong and you're passionate, let's come on and have a conversation. So none of this is gospel. I wouldn't worship it. It's just this is how, if I was sitting back as 16-year-old me getting ready to jump in on the family business, this is the guide I wish somebody would have given me. So I've got about eight steps. So the first one, step one, and these all should be their own episodes. This should be a coursework. And if I was into that thing, I'd put a course together and sell it and advertise as some sort of expert. And I'm just not playing that game. So hopefully this helps. If anybody wants mentorship or whatever, I'm getting ready to stand that up. That's a whole nother conversation. But so here's my 8-step guide to being a specialty contractor, or in a small business. I think most of the fundamentals will apply to any small business. First things first, do you really want to be in business, and why? So what I would tell everybody is, for about 5 times it's going to take you 5 times longer than you think, and it's going to be 10 times harder than you think. It's not easy. It's a pain in the butt. And it's kind of like this. It's this, and a year after year, this is my story anyway, right? Year after year, it was like, maybe I should just give it up. Maybe I should just give it up and go work for somebody. I'd be making 3 times the money. I'd have half the stress, and I wouldn't have 20 to 30 to 40, now 100 lives, depending on me and the decisions that I make. It's a goat rope, right? That doesn't have to be true for everybody. I think if you're smarter and do things different, if you get the right mentorship, potentially you can do things really, really fast. But I think the failed wisdom as people get into business is, I will control my own destiny. And I don't want to say it that way, but I would view business as a really long and sometimes infinite trap. You're going to spend hour per hour, dollar per dollar. I'm willing to bet that I talk to any entrepreneur, not any, most entrepreneurs sub 3 million, particularly sub $1 million, they own a not so well paying job, right? Or maybe a well paying job, but not when you go hour per hour. It's really expensive. It's really expensive to be in business. And why is it so difficult? I don't know, but I hope to help bridge that gap for some people. But it's going to be hard is what I would say. And I don't think that's what some of the pundits are teaching. It's going to be easy. Buy this book and read this book and do this, and it's going to be easy. Maybe that's true. I would love to see that. That's not true for me. I'm somebody that's been extremely successful in most everything I put my mind to. I thought it was going to take me 3 years to improve upon the business, get it self-automated, and go do some of my other ventures. 15 years later, I was woefully confused. It's extremely difficult. And do yourself a favor and ask what you're doing. If you want immediate freedom, if you want flexibility of time, not that you can't have it. You may be in control of your schedule, but you're going to take the workload and double it, right? So it's going to become more damning, more taxing, and difficult. That's not to say you shouldn't do it. I'm just telling you, it's not this beautiful, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and I'm going to have control of my own destiny. It works. It's true. Sometimes, like, you could just take vacation when you want, but I would contemplate that most entrepreneurs' vacations involve a lot more work than they wish it did, particularly in the early years. So, do you really want to be in business? It's going to be hard, I think. You might get lucky. You might be smarter. It might go fast. But I think anybody selling that entrepreneurialism is really easy and it's this beautiful life where you get your freedom and you make a F load of money, like, that ain't it. I haven't talked to any entrepreneur that would say that. Truly. I've seen a bunch of coaches and a bunch of branding that suggests that, but I think that's a fugazi. So start with that question. If you're going to get into it, I would read first. These would be my first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 reads. Just ripped them off the top. I'm an ever learner. I think anybody that wants to be successful should always be learning. You should pretend or believe that you're the most ill-equipped, stupidest person in the room, and you have something to learn from everybody. I believe that fully and wholly, and it's helped me get very far. So traction is great for fundamentals. I would adopt the traction principles. I would run your business on EOS. I think it's been transformational for us, and I look around at a lot of the businesses I admire, and they adopt it or something similar. Rocket Fuel is great for you as the leader to understand your strengths and weaknesses and what kind of partner you might need. I don't think anything beautiful or magnificent or epic has been built with one person. There's always a counterpart. Walt Disney was Ron Disney. Henry Ford can't remember his brother. The Wright brothers. There's a yin and a yang. The guy that can dream it isn't really the guy that can run it or make it come to fruition. Generally, those of us that are extreme visionaries are not really good process people, right? You need both. Both need to be true. So Rocket Fuel is great perspective on that. I think the tenets in that book are more profound than most people, even after reading, will understand, because it took me probably 10 years after reading to finally get what it was saying and really get it right. So that's a great read. People Are Stupid. I think that's the book, talking kind of like, it's a pseudo disc profile, like understanding different people. 10 times is easier than 2 times. Must read. Who Not How, same author. Must read. Good to Great. Collins, great book. Read it in college. I probably should freshen it up, but the tenets in that book are fantastic. And then I think Sinek wrote my book. I think I can why better than he can why. And Simon, I hope you don't take offense to that. It'd be fun to talk to you someday. But The Power of Why by Simon Sinek, I think everything's purpose. Everything is purpose. It comes back to purpose, and it's extremely important. So that's section 2. If you're not willing to read, you're not willing to invest the time. And I don't know, you might be successful, but you wouldn't be as successful as you could be if you were willing to read and learn. I think learning is really important. There might be some tradespeople that are offended by that. Listen, you could put Audible on. I think everybody should be learning. If you don't have something to learn, you probably have an ego problem. And I don't know if people are going to want to work with or for you. My suspicion, for those of you that are I don't need to read, I bet you don't have a very big team. I'm willing to bet. And now, I could be wrong. So please, if you're offended, say so in the comments. You can come on this show and tell me why it's a bad idea to read. That'd be an interesting conversation. And I say that with love, total love. Maybe I have something to learn from you about why reading is a waste of time. I will say, Lisa Patel, back to episode, I can't remember if she's 9 or 10, maybe. She doesn't like to read business books because normally, she says, you can get most of what you need in the intro. I find that to be true. And there's we'll deal with that in Better Questions, the other show. But yeah, there's a lot of books that read and put a lot more fluff in them than they need. So I do get that, right? So topic 1, do you really want to be in business? Topic 2, I would recommend reading. Topic 3 is and geez almighty, do not skip this step. Mentors are not that hard to find. Particularly there's nothing more life-giving for me to mentor somebody. And I got like 3 or 4 or 5 people that like just, it's been implicit. It's not a paid arrangement. It's just like, they believe they have something to learn from me and I can kind of walk them through some of the stuff I've been through. Like that's life-giving to me. I don't need to be paid for it. Eventually I want to be able to help people. I'll get into that later, but the people that have made it want to help you. And nothing is more attractive than assertiveness, right? So find somebody that is successful and test them, right? I mean, particularly the coaches. I reach out to them and be willing to pay if you have to pay. But I think a good mentor just really wants you to be successful. And there's people you can find that are successful that want to see you be successful and like build a network. If you don't have a network where you feel like you can find a mentor, like get at me. I'll help you find one. Maybe I'll be one. We can work something out. But like having an advisor is critical and be very selective. So I wouldn't go hire a coach. A lot of the coaches are branders, right? They just have these great branding machines and shame on me. I should have done that first. This whole road would have been easier for me. But the branding coaches, I just get nervous. I don't trust it unless they're advertising their success rate. Like a coach, it should sound like this is like, hey, it's going to be high ticket. It's going to be, if you can't afford it, then I'm going to earn into equity, but I'm going to get you where you're going. I believe in you. And if you're coming under my advisement, if you're coming under my wing, like success is not optional. I'm going to pre-qualify you. And if I don't think that you're going to make it, I'm not going to work with you because I don't want to take your money unless we get where we're going. And if you don't know where you're going, I'm going to help you define that. And then we're going to say if it's feasible, and I'm not going to work with you unless I believe in you and I believe I can help you get there. That should be the coaching arrangement. That's really not what we see. So two watch outs for a coach, right? What have they done? Do they live into their failures? Are they where you want to be, or are they a brander? And then the second thing is, what's their success rate? How many people have they worked with? Are they advertising their transformational change? Like if I work with 10 people and I don't make transformational results on 7 out of 10 of them, I've failed. And I would put that up there. I'd let everybody know the 3 of them that didn't work, this is why it didn't work. So if all cards are not on the table and it sounds something like buy this book and follow this program and it may or may not work, like save your money, find a better mentor, find somebody that really wants you to be successful. So that's step 3, find a mentor, somebody to counsel you, informal, formal, whichever, find somebody that is where you want to be or has been where you want to go and get their counsel. And I have leveraged, and my Vistage family will see this because this is going to be the first thing that I promote. It's been super beneficial. There's 20 people in a Vistage group that are committed to my success and have really helped me get my shit together, so to speak, right? I thought I needed an ops manager and they're like, no, you need, I needed an ops manager. Like, no, you need a president, integrator, blah, blah, blah. And 2019 set me on a trajectory to really getting it figured out. So my Vistage group, you guys all built me. I owe you an enormous amount of respect and adoration. So here's your shout out. Thank you. I think of Dom and Tess when I say this. So thank you both dearly for hanging with me through the ups and the downs. So for everybody else, it's been a wild road. It's been a wild road. My peaks are great. My valleys are low. It's been a wild road. And I think we're on the top of the range and not to be falling down to the bottom of the range. But I'm still watchful. I thought that before and I've been wrong. Step 4. This is particularly for you trade professionals that are tired and your boss sucks and you think you should go sub or blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you should. Maybe you should. If you work for a shitty boss, you should just find a new boss. That goes back to step 1. Like, do you really want to be in business? Do you really want to get QuickBooks? Do you really want to incorporate with the state? Do you really want to be worried about insurance? Do you really want to hire, fire, live by hiring and firing? Do you really want to be worried about making payroll? Do you really want to be fighting with the banks? Do you really want to be leveraged? Do you really want to be fighting with customers who don't want to pay you? Do you really want to, like all those things? Do you really want to do that? That goes back to step 1, but dabble with it, right? Dabble with it. I think, we're going to get to the burn the boats part in a little bit, but I think for the specialty guys, I'll let you work for me and help you build up your business and subcontract. Like, do it as a side hustle in the beginning. Like, take some side jobs and really start to prove your craft. It's just a less risk profile and figure out, is this something I really want to do? At one point or another, if you're going to get there, you got to burn the boats. But as a step 1, quitting your job and starting a new company, it works. I'm not saying don't do it, but if you can, leverage the safety of a job, leverage learning what they're doing and not doing well. Don't come into it thinking you know everything. Like, watch the company, study, and I wouldn't hide behind it either. I'd be clear. I mean, there's a bunch of people that work for me that want their own business, and I think being a good leader is helping them do that. I'm not saying I'm doing that great right now, but we have a plan in place to help all fencers that want to be in business for themselves make that journey a little bit easier. That sounds weird. Why would you want competition? They're going to do it anyway. I'd rather have smart competition that understands pricing, that doesn't go out and lowball the market. I'd rather help them into business than I would, cut their throat. And then anyway, that's what I know. So step 4, consider starting as a side hustle. I think that's good advice. I didn't do that. I kind of wish I would have gotten a big boy job and then came to business, but that's another story for another day. This one's big. Number 5, anybody that mentors with me, I speak this into existence. Now, I probably overdid this. I was so worried about where I was going. I wasn't really worried about tomorrow, but like, start with the end in mind. Where are you going? What are you trying to do? I think there's really two paths to entrepreneurialism. Like, I'm going to build a highly profitable sole proprietorship that really needs me, or I'm going to build something bigger than me that doesn't need me eventually. Now, I think one is easier than two, and maybe both can be true. I don't know that both can be true. I mean, maybe. I haven't seen it. I've seen people that got to work their freaking, I don't have a good slang. I'm a military, so forgive me. You got to work their dick into the ground. It's just miserable. They got to like grind it out. It's just like, and like they're everything to the company. And then when there's a certain level of success, they can start to delete themselves. And even I've seen people at 100 million, 400 million that haven't figured out how to delete themselves, that own a very now high paying job with a fair bit of freedom, but they're still enslaved to the business. Right. And so I think business ownership versus business operation are always blurred, but understanding, do you want to have something big or something small? Do you want to be tightly intertwined? Do you want decisions to be made without you, and at what scale? Like, I would have a very clear picture of like, what it is you are building. And that seems weird as you're just starting out. You're just like, I'm going to start this business, right? If you hear it, it's a little flippant. Like, you're starting this business so that what is your purpose? Like, what do you want out of this business? I think it's easier when you think about, I imagine like going out with some buddies and we're going to go on this epic hike, and we're like just getting into the backcountry, and we're looking at a map, and there's like 17 peaks. There's a waterfall, there's a river, there's this, there's that. And like, it's like, where do we want to go? Which way should we go first? And like, if you don't have a destination, ultimately, like let's say it's a 10-day pack out, right? We're going to go and let's just say we don't have a purpose. We're going hiking. How do you pick which step? I'm in the middle of it now, right? And I have 360 degrees. I can take one step one way, and that's going to have implications for where I end up, right? If I go southeast, it's going to be harder to get northwest. So like, it's not that these steps are super consequential. It's that they might be backwards if you don't know directionally where you're going, right? So the biggest thing is be contemplated here. Like, I'm getting into business in order to, what is my purpose? Now, what's the company's purpose? And where am I going? Where do I plan to go? Because every step after that becomes a lot easier to make, right? Tomorrow's decision becomes a lot easier to make when you know where you're trying to get to in 10 years. Very, very intoxicating when you don't know where you're going to get to and you don't have a big overarching vision. I don't know. Should you go southeast? Should you go south? Should you go north? Maybe you need to do both. I don't know. But very hard to plant your steps if you don't have a North Star for where you're heading. So that's what I would say. Step 5 is like, start with the end in mind. Where are you trying to get to? And be prepared. This is what's wild. And this is a mindset thing. And we're going to explore far more of that in better questions. But be prepared for catastrophic success. Very, very seldom have I met somebody that didn't accomplish their goals. Also, I don't see people reorient their goals and recognize even the most successful, not the most successful, but that last 1% are the people that believe in themselves in a ridiculous fashion. That's why they call it neurodivergence, right? I'm going to say those of us, I don't qualify, but those of us that are wildly successful are neurodivergent. We believe in ourselves beyond all sensible reason, and then we go and do crazy things. Maybe I don't think my fence company is quite there yet, but what I got coming, I think so. But yeah, so what we often do is we set a goal that's realistic, which is good. That makes sense, right? Because we want to accomplish the goal instead of ambitious. And then when we hit our realistic goal, we forget that we need to go reorient, and like we could have done far more than we thought we could do. And I see that. I know people running billion-dollar companies that haven't reoriented and aren't really clear how to reorient, because now they're more successful than they ever thought they could be. And it's like, wait a minute. Oh, am I an underachiever? Did I set a goal that was less than my potential? Yeah, you did. That's okay. Everybody does it. Generally, everybody does it. If you have a goal, you will make it come true, as long as you're committed and disciplined. If you set a goal, you will likely accomplish it if you mean it. So what's the harm in setting a higher goal that might take longer? It gives you something to chase after. Yeah, that's my goal setting philosophy. Be ambitious, dream your greatest dream, pursue it, and don't stop. So that's step 5, end in mind. Step 6, and this is, I like think of you, Fish, if you're listening, if you stayed in tune. Not everybody would say this, but I think there's an operational risk, there's an execution risk to too much failure or not enough failure. So there's like kind of 2 versions, I think, of the journey. Is like, we're going to move fast and we're going to make a lot of mistakes. I think that's Zuckerberg. What is his like? Try new things and break stuff, right? And there's something, there's the saying about like, if you're not living on the edge, you're taking up too much space, whatever else. There's that. And then there's very careful, cautious, regimented, and perfect. We don't take unnecessary risks. We go step by step by step by step, and we mitigate exposure. And look, if you're more of an integrator-led company, you're going to be on phase B, the very methodical, deliberate, one step in front of the other, no, less risk, more secure. That might be great. Me and my camp, like, no, we just move fast. Like, I got to learn those lessons. The faster I fuck it up, the faster I can fix it and get back on my feet and keep running. So I just go hard and fast. I don't think that's for everybody. I don't, it'd be really interesting to talk to somebody from the other camp. I would love to bring them in here and talk about the slow and methodical approach. I don't believe that you're going to have a better, more well-run company. I think you're going to have a slower growth. You're not going to make as many mistakes, and it'll just take you longer to get out of the gate, because all the lessons that need to be learned have to be learned. So I would encourage reckless abandon within reason. Don't do it the way I did. I was on the verge of bankruptcy twice. I have been I have put myself in a lot of perilous situations, but on the other hand, I've been through most of it, right, in 10 years. So now I get to be a 35-year-old running a $50 million company that should be a $500 million company. By the time I'm 45, that leaves me another 20 years to go rinse and repeat with all that I've learned. So I wouldn't trade it. I wish I would have done it a little bit more carefully. So that'd be interesting. And if anybody's listening and really wants to advocate for slow, smooth is fast, which I do agree with that. Like, that's a statement that I just said. I believe in that, but I don't know. I would just move fast. I'd swing the bat, drop the bat, pick it up, and keep it on. So it's been successful for me. I put myself in a lot of precarious situations, but I think I accelerated the learning curve. So I feel great about it. I'm happy with all the failures that I've had. I hope that I can help some of y'all avoid them. So now we get into just kind of some of the common pitfalls I see in our industry. I'm not going to dive into these, but like, I think first you got to have revenue. Lead and deal flow is a big deal. If you're in construction and you don't have lead and deal flow, like, you should get at me or some. This isn't something I claim to be an expert in, but there's far more work than there are workers. So you should have leverage there. That shouldn't be a problem you have. You probably got a snare in your ointment about your approach, and we can help you with that. I think a big one everybody gets: when do you make your first hire? Do you do subs? Do you not do subs? Like, and that really goes back to like step 5, like, where are you going? So if you're trying to build something big, start hiring and firing, because you got to get good at it. And then the third piece of this is like the accounting, legal, and insurance state. It is a disaster. I did this wrong myself. I wouldn't profess to be an expert in this either, but I can get you good guidance because I've lived it. Finding a good lawyer, no comment. Insurance, not that it's just a gross business. Accounting is tough. Took me a long time to get my book straight, and it's important. Reporting is important. You can't manage what you don't measure, right? And measurement of production, particularly on our stuff, is really hard. And then, the overall back end process. So, like, what Kyle and I are looking to set up, and I think I'm going to drag Megan into this, is like giving that support for kind of these common pitfalls. It's not there yet, but those are some of the things you're going to face. If you're feeling the pain of that, you're not alone. Each one of these was a different issue for us at a different time. And then, step 8, this is really in my world, this is directed towards those that want to build something bigger than themselves. And this would be my like path to scale. The last and final little nugget that I'll give today is like, first and foremost, back to the same thing I told you, everybody else in the beginning, is prepare for it to take 5 times longer than you think. And it's probably going to be 10 times harder than you think. Like it's a go road. It's not fun, but it's worth it. If you emerge on the outside and you have the grit, you have the tenacity, you have the perseverance, like you can do it. But it's going to be tough. If you're thinking this is going to be a quick date, you're probably like me and you are probably wrong. Biggest thing, if that's what you're doing, I think get really, really dialed in on your mission, purpose, and vision. You got to be speaking for something that is compelling to go to work for. So if you are in business to make money for yourself, you need to get outside of that. What is the money for? Like, are you providing for your families? And are you gonna do this in a way that like this is the purpose of the company is to build freedom for everybody that comes to work here, right? Which is something attuned to what we did and what we do. So like have a purpose that's compelling. People don't want to go to work to help you buy a yacht. I'm sorry to the boomers. Like you just got to get over that. That's not compelling. That's not helpful. It's not good. So what is the mission, which is different than the purpose? And what is the vision? Where are we going? I'd spend some time on that. That is something I can help with. That is something that I'm very good at. And then I'd get good at the people game. The book answer that everybody's heard, right, is hire slow, fire fast. But what nobody understands is what the does it mean to fire fast? Nobody gets that. Nobody understands that. What does it look like? How do you do it right? How do you do it without being evil? And I actually have written the book. I didn't want to sell it because I haven't. I don't know. I don't want to be an author. I don't want to be a podcaster. Let me remind you, I didn't want to be here, but I think there's like some common pitfalls to look out for. I will put that into motion at some point. But like my belief as somebody that's done it 100 times, it took me to go through, I had to go through 100 to get 100 good ones working for me. Good ones. I don't mean to say it that way, but like it's an art. It's a muscle. You got to flex it. Getting good at hiring, setting expectations, vetting, recruiting, onboarding, and being observant, right? It should not take you more than 30 days to make an observation. Is this person going to meet my expectations or not? This is gold here. You won't understand it, but you have to be able to do that. You have to make people decisions. And it's an evolution. So I don't think you've gotten yourself well started in this arena until you've lived with about 50 or more. I think you're just getting started. And then even at 100, we're still getting duped. Like I'm still getting like, I don't know how to make this read. And I've made it 100 times before. So it's really hard. I'd get really good at that. I'd get yourself studied up. We might put some consultancy advisor around this because I think it is very painful. So we're going to do some stuff to try to make it easier, particularly on the construction professional, to find good talent and qualify and onboard and all that. But that's yet to come. And then a big thing is believe in your vision and don't waver. I say this because I think the temptation on this side of the house would be, when you're paying yourself not that great, which don't do that if you can help it. I never should have done that, but you don't feel comfortable taking a big salary. So let's say you're paying yourself 50 grand. You could probably go get a job making 110, 120, 100, maybe $160,000. So like at every moment, you should be able to make easier money somewhere else, probably, if you're like really qualified. Maybe you don't know that yet, but I can almost promise you, yes, I'm talking to you and fence installers. Yeah, you probably can make better money than you can going on your own, at least in the beginning. So if you don't believe in the vision that you're building, like it's just going to be too easy to just at the end of the year be like, F this, let's go make some money. So just know that. And it's going to take a lot longer. So if you think you're going to get there in 3, it's probably going to be 6. It might be, I don't know. You all might be smarter than me. And hopefully you get a better mentor or better counsel or whatever. But that's my experience. This is a big one, particularly for the people that want to go slow and be measured and be safe. And I don't say that as a derogatory, but like be very calculated, right? My encouragement to you, and there's going to be a video someday. It's my favorite content. We've got a content deck coming. But I just watched this dude crash a company van into an immobile pole. He just whacked it. And it was a company when I saw him, he had to go try to find his boss and tell him, it's like, to all entrepreneurs that plan to hire a team, mistakes are going to happen. Like they're going to happen. You need to up your tolerance for them. Likely you're a perfectionist. That's why you're on this journey. Like you need to be tolerant. I'm probably too tolerant of nonsense, but like people are going to make mistakes. And if you don't put them in an environment where that's okay and even encouraged, everybody's afraid to make the next move. if you give yourself an out, you'll take it. Like you got to just burn the boats. And if you don't know what that is, I think there's a book about it. But some people were going to a battle that they weren't going to win, but when they arrived on shore, they burnt the boat so that they couldn't retreat. And I believe that they won. I don't know if it's a fable or a true story. It's a great war story, though. And then last and final on my step 8 is swing the bat and keep swinging. Just keep swinging. Like take a shot, keep taking a shot. Like it's not going to work. You're going to have to try 10 things to get one thing to bite right. That's all I'd say is just keep swinging the bat. And if you keep swinging the bat, you will hit the ball. And then when you figure out what puts bat on ball, then like you can approach the mound a little bit more confident and like replicate and figure out what works. So I'd take a lot of big swings, study what works, and then rinse and repeat. So that is my 101 8-step guide to scaling a specialty contractor. I hope it's valuable. If it is, you should put some comments in here. If it's not, you should come and do better. You're invited. You have play. That's the whole point of this. So we're looking for guests all the time. We are going to have a well-sponsored community at some point. If you want to be a part of that, that's awesome. But yeah, moral of the story is this is a trade advocacy platform. It's any trade professionals to use it. I'm trying to do some community stuff around it. So I'll recap just in case you didn't listen to the beginning. The purpose of this whole thing is to consolidate and elevate the voice of the trades, to promote the respect to all the tradesmen as they deserve it. Outcome 1, I want to make it easier for people to get into the trades. Outcome 2, I want to solve and build a bridge for the skills gap that's coming. And then outcome 3 is to do something significant to advocate for the specialty trades that get crapped on in the industrial markets. So that's what we're about. That's what we're doing. Thanks for tuning in. I don't know that I'm going to run my suck solo very much, but if you guys say that you like it, maybe I will. You'll have to give me some stuff to talk about. I like talking to people, not talking at myself. So cheers. Go on and build better. I think at this point, I should give a shout out to Pineapple Productions. Thanks for all that you do. And yeah, keep on building. Just do it better.